Alright, so here we go. I got challenge number one for me. Challenge number one is the seats for my car. There's a backrest to the driver's seat. I'm going to be getting that ready to start to cover. I got to cushion it and get rid of all the noise. So all the extra old hog pins that are in here, those are going to rattle like crazy when going down the road later on in life. So I got to get all those out, and then I can start padding it up like I did the front seat. Look at this. All these hog pins. See, it takes a lot of hog pins to get this stuff right. That's off of one freaking thing. Off of one pad. Hog pliers. Hog pins. I use two different sizes. A little 1/2 inchers. And then I got what they call H2s. Those end up going and hooking right into when you put the fabric or whatever on. You flip it over and they go right around. You just snap it right, or clip it right in and then squeeze. Alright, we got the seats done, foamed, ready to go. Right now I'm getting ready to make the patterns to do the upholstery. So there we are, 100%. It's comfy to sit on. They're solid. They look good. I already got the patterns cut for the first one. I don't know if I like it or not yet, but and I'm not sure if I'm gonna use buttons or anything yet. But here's kind of what I want to do. And the exact opposite, so it'd be the V this way, up here. Gray, red, red, black, black. And then 5 buttons across here. Alright, so I married the pattern. And I'm getting ready to actually start stapling it together. So I took these 2 pieces over here, and I'm stapling them together over here. So I'm doing it so it lines up so that these kind of contour together. So when you're done stapling it, you'll sew this seam on the inside, so that's a complete seam. And then this is going to get glued in half, so it'll be half that size, and run down the middle. Here's where we're at. I got the 2 sides stitched together. I got a single stitch on the side, so I lined up the 1/2 inch on each side, stitched it up the center, and then as I'm gonna here, I put a seam, a strengthening seam, across that to make sure we're good and tight. So actually, it doesn't look pretty, but it will. It's gonna get covered with the red. So now I'm gonna be going on to the next stitch. All right, I got all the seams done. I'm making the red belt or the cover coat. So here's 2 of them here. What I'm basically all I'm doing is taking a 3-inch vinyl, folding it up with glue. I got a tape just to hold it steady, and then I'm overlaying the seams. Well, the seams I'm covering the seams that are kind of a heavy coat right now, so that it looks like this. So I've got this one done down these sides. Basically, all I have to do is finish this bottom edge, which is going to be gray. I think gray here, and black around the sides with the red belt coming down here and here. Alright, got it all glued together. Now I'm going to start to stitch. Basically all I'm doing is sticking it in the sewing machine. I'm going to have to take it slow because it's not an industrial sewing machine. I also have to clean the needle a lot because of the glue that's in it. So basically, running it through, going to run it right on the edge, right there. So that's going to be my guide. What is that? I think like just over 1/4 of an inch. Alright, I got partway through the seat. Got this one done and all stretched in. Basically all I'm doing is making sure that all my set is, everything's lined up the same. Need a lot of hangers, nice heavy duty wire, and I set a seam inside here on everything, all the way around. Right now I'm finishing up this one and making sure that it matches up, but I'm doing all my line up, so I'm going to take it off again and sew the edges in. But I pretty much am done. Alright, so we got everything ready. This is where I stretch everything together, make sure it all sits right. I ran wires, so I added the extra piece, then ran a seam through here, so I can put wire all the way through on each side. And then I shape everything in where it's supposed to go. All the way around. She's homesick today. Cookie girl. So then I will stretch it all in and make sure it's all in the same spot as the other one, which is right there, so I can match them up. And then I hog pin it all down, so I'll take this area and hog pin it, or hog ring it into these areas like this.
if you look on the back side, all the way down here, I have a hog pin here. I'm gonna hog rings here, hog rings here, hog rings here, wherever it needs to make it nice and tight, and put it right where it's supposed to be. All right, got the 2 top seats done. Pin them in. Go on to the bottom. Little tweaking still right here that I gotta get out. Otherwise, we're pretty good. Seams are off a little bit here too. I'm done working on that. So right here, I can see a little bit of the seam, and I'm not happy with that. And I could tweak that in a little bit more, but whatever, I'm done. All right, here we are on the next part. My daughter is doing exercises. Push-ups. 10. All right. I wanted to try it a little differently this time, so I wrapped the whole thing in pieces. So I've got a top piece, my side pieces that I'm going to run, my center piece, my other side piece. This is the downs for where my seams are going to go, so I can try to save some fabric. I can get all this cut into parts, so I can cut this, and that way I have basically prints of everything, so I can just put it together real quick when it's done. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to be cutting all this stuff out, trying to cut fabric and piece it together so that I can get all these parts done. I got everything sewn for here. Fits real good. This piece is going on next. That's going to be the grabber. That's the one that's going to stretch around back, behind, and then I just wire this in. This baby's done. All right, here's the main seat, the main bench. We got everything stapled together. Everything but the back. I'm going to do that when it's done. So we got to flip it over and check it. So basically, it's all retrofitted. So I'll do all the snips around here to make it nice and tight. And I still got to lip in where my metal's going. All right, a couple seconds later, I got it flipped over. Things I got to watch for when I'm sewing is this area here. I need to make sure that's nice and flat so that it doesn't buckle up. Otherwise, I can start sewing. All right, here's a little heads up. I decided to change things up a little bit. I'm going to do a pop-out in the back seat, all going up from the top, coming down, kind of like how this is the front seat. By the way, this is the front seat done. But I'm going to have it so that the center pops out higher and then comes down and is higher also. So I'll be running wire in this one. All right, so what I got is I made a real small seam in here, just to fold back, basically. So I got enough room to put a wire in. So this one I've run the wire all the way through. It runs all the way through here and then to the other side so that I can connect it to the frame and tighten it up around it. What I did is, for that center stitch, for that pop-up in the seat here, what I did was give myself a center line and then give myself a 1/4 of an inch past. I give myself a 1/4 of an inch past so that everything sits in the foam. This is a 19-inch foam. I went 19 and what did I do? From here to here, 9 3/4. I went 9 3/4 on the fabric. This is 9 1/2 here. So that 1/4 of an inch gives me a drop space so that this can drop down. Now I didn't want this to continue all the way through, so I ended up doing a sleeve that doesn't continue through. On this side, this way I can tie it off and still finish off with one piece instead of running 2 pieces. Alright, this is basically what I was talking about. This is tied off. So it's all tied off and stuck into the seam here. So it's all seamed in, tied off underneath. Comes all the way around in that seam still. It's tied off back here for now. I can move this around as I need to. But also, around the center where that other seam is, I end up having another tie to help hold it in tighter so it looks even better. There's my seats. Pretty much done. This doesn't look right because of the way it sits in the car. It curves in real hard in the car here. So now I was looking at the next part where I'm going to have to start making the panels on the doors and on the walls to start matching up. And the window, of course, goes right across the top here. So that's going to be a window right there. But these guys, I'll have to wrap these here soon. I'm going to have to clean these up. And these are going to end up right on the edge of it, of the seat, kind of like so. And that's actually like an armrest. So these are the original ones. And I'm going to keep them. I'm just going to recover them. So I'll be gluing on new foam on top of this. And then shaping it back out a little bit. Won't need much, just a little because of like spots like this. There's a gouge in it. But the rest of it shouldn't take much at all. And it'll pretty much shave right back to its original size and shape. And then this just gets screwed onto the wall and there's a hook on the back. That hook goes right into a piece of metal that's already in there, so this will just drop in the wall and then screw in back there. Get a good buzz while you're doing it too, that's pretty sweet. It's got some stonage going here. Can't do this real long because it's affecting me pretty quick. Contact cement has a lot more stuff to make you kind of slow down in life, so I could probably talk all day with this stuff, working on this stuff, because it's just, it's going right to my head, so I got to stop doing this here for a little bit and get some ventilation, but that's basically, stick that on, and then we will stick this guy on here. I gotta go no hands, so put this on and then do it twice. I'll get this glued on, let it set for a while, probably tape it on so it gets in tight. Do the same thing to that one, then I'll start shaving it down. See you in a little bit. Alright, well I got this done. Now it's just sit and wait. Basically all I did is glued everything on. I found out that I needed to put contact cement on here, on this part, and on this part. Let them tack out for a little bit and then stick them together. Now I'm just letting them mold up, so I use a lot of masking tape. I'm a big fan of masking tape. Alright, well, it's been about an hour. I took the glue off the first one. The tape off the first one, and then I ended up shaving everything down with a pair of scissors, which took a little bit of time, but basically then I've got the shape that I need. I've got the contour. I even wanted to make sure that my sizes, my cuts and everything were good, so you end up taking the fabric or a piece of it, stretch it all out, and it's going to work good. I'm going to end up probably having a seam right here as I was doing it, make a really nice hard solid seam like which one? Like none of the ones I got here, but a solid seam on it just so that it's real strong, because it's going to get more wear and tear there probably than anywhere else in back. So it'll have a seam here, this will wrap down, and then I'll glue all of it onto here and stretch it out.
Just getting the final shape on the second piece. You basically just shave it down so it's nice and smooth all the way along. Try to get them to match up as best possible.
Here's some stuff that you should know. When you're taking out fabric and you're putting it over a hard surface and you try to push it down, you're going to end up with all these little bubbles and stuff. So nothing's going to fit unless you can stretch it. You don't really want to stretch it much. So what you end up doing in this case is making cuts in it. And this one is actually a cut that brought these two parts together. This will glue down nicely. This one actually separated because there's a spot here where it's going to bunch up too. When I cut it, it's a separation that spreads. So I ended up putting this piece in so that when you put it on, instead of it looking like this, it sits into place a lot smoother. As soon as I can, it's hard to do one-handed, but I've got it so that it's on straight, so that it sits there evenly. I marked all my corners. And then see, it sits right in. I added fabric here. This will glue down too nice. This will glue down super nice. I got this one pretty much done over here. A couple bubbles I still got to work out, but this is the contour I was talking about that I needed. I needed to do one little cut over here after we're all said and done. This is the soft part, so I can't do that part yet. So I got to wait probably tomorrow or the day after to get all this to go right. But yeah, it's just a matter of getting all the bubbles out. Surprise, I've got it all glued on. Everything's glued tight. This was all done yesterday. You can kind of see how nice and tight it is and smooth. Looks like a nice solid piece. This is loose up here still. So this gets glued over and tied down. Then I just staple it and pull it tight. I'm not too concerned with how tight and if it's got a lot of wrinkles in it. It's just an accessory piece to the seat. So all of these get glued down just to hold it over because this is done. This is just in the way, so I can actually cut part of that back and then do it. But yeah, basically that's it. Once this is tied down and over, it's done. Like this one. This one here is done. So this is what we got. Alright, ready for install. These are going to look sweet. It's going to wind right up into the seat just so nicely.